Cool, should be getting this pulled up. What's up, man? Afternoon, everybody. What's good? What's good? Hope y'all mornings were okay. Really not too interested till power hour, as we said. So kind of just watching now these next 15 minutes, seeing what's taking place. We had kind of played with a short idea using that new week opening gap. So at that kind of original, we'll say first stage of FOMC, we run out these equal highs, right? Clearing that short-term high. Breaking structure pretty aggressively. And I'm really just looking at this low here. But we close through that. And now we leave behind that fair value gap. This white shaded area is the new week opening gap. So as we return into that, pretty nice short from here into just the sell side. Right, kind of playing with that idea. So as we tap into that fair value gap, new week opening gap, get short. Had lower objectives. Wanted to see if price was willing to kind of just run aggressively right through this daily fair value gap here. So for me, the target was the actual low of it, my final target. But as you see here, we ended up partialing most of the position at this low. Once again, as we kind of break structure at this high, right? Because at this point, we clear a short-term low, we break through this swing point. So now we're putting in bullish structure. So as we return into a discount, partial there. And then finally, we partial out as just this high. So our stop got jammed above this high. We get stopped. And now we just watch. Really don't expect too much action until, yeah, just power hour. I want to see if we can get back into, let's go like a 2 minute. Really this 5 minute fair value gap here, rather large. But yeah, I like that. So really interested in this 5 minute paired with that daily, right? Because we've hit the daily consequent encroachment. We've cleared a short-term low. We understand FOMC is often a two-stage event. So we see this kind of running short-term high, right? Running out the sell side first stage. We even run it out one more time, this swing low here. And now we've actually pushed up and through this swing point. So now I'd rather look for continued bullish prices to see if we can just continue to run, push from here. If we start getting back underneath this new week opening gap again, right, that's what we'll wait until 3 o'clock for us. We still can kind of be in this seek and shore mode of the FOMC delivery. We're hitting that low of the 5 minute right now. Really looking at this wick too on the 1 minute. Right, so as we create this wick and we blast through it, we'd often see that as a balance range. Right, pair that with this 1 minute fair value gap here. So all of these discounts in here that we wouldn't really want to see broken if price was going to reach higher again. If we do get underneath that, probably come for this low here. Right, wary of the time. Still got 10 minutes until we're really looking for anything to enter on. See what we get. I haven't really looked at all. Let's see what we got this morning. So this morning, well, not too much either. Gives you a little turtle soup entry here, actually, into that fair value gap. Breaking structure. Consolidating prior to FOMC makes sense. Closing under this 5-minute fair value gap, as we're saying, would be rather, we'll say, not ideal if we're looking for higher prices. Right, we may just enter that consolidation or seek and destroy, come back for the slow, if that's the case. Close underneath here. Waiting for a closure. We've closed really on the low of that new week opening gap. If this candle closes underneath, at that point, I'd really expect this to become an inversion. See if that new week opening gap would hold us, run us lower into now swing lows, right? We have this swing low, this swing low, this swing low here. Relative equal lows. Trendline liquidity, right? We don't use trend lines in that sense, but for trendline traders, we see that as liquidity, right? Stops are going to be placed under this. Notice what we're doing here as well. So I would like to see if we can't actually continue to run lower. Did we close? We did close underneath, right? So it's just one tick underneath that new week opening gap. But even that, in my mind, feels like a lower time frame. Closing underneath that at all really should mean we continue lower, right? And on that 30-second, we do see a little fair value gap here. So I just want to see if that can continue to hold us, send us lower. If we can clear out sell side before power hour, that'd be ideal. If we continue to consolidate, we can maybe use that as a target during the last hour of the day. One minute till the 5-minute closes. Gives a little better indication. Here we have, what do we have? New day opening gap. We should have cleared that high, to be honest. Right, held that original fair value gap. I would have liked to see that high be ran. If we can find support here still at this new week opening gap, I like the idea of still continuing higher, right? Through this, we'd have to look at this bearish as an inversion. Gonna move the daily for now. So the 5-minute ended up closing underneath consequent encroachment of the actual 5-minute fair value gap. There's a good chance we want to kind of push towards the low of that, right? If we're going to close underneath consequent encroachment, especially on that 5-minute chart. The slowest discount on the 1 minute, we've actually, let this get this perfect. So we've closed below that as well. Could still hold though here. Still too early. Not in any rush. If we can get above this, as I'm saying, I think that'll be a pretty good trigger point for me to start looking for longs into the high. Especially if we can get back above the 5-minute. We got into that fair value gap barely. Institutional order flow. Now I'm trying to see the reaction here, right? So if we've tapped this bearish fair value gap, if we're going to start closing underneath new week opening gap, my attention goes back to these lows here. Seeing as how we've repriced into that fair value gap, it would be an institutional order flow entry, right? So it'd be just a rather quick one tick run into that. We're holding that new week opening gap still, however, the low of the 5 minute as well. Few minutes till power hour, so. Hoping we don't enter a consolidation. We may, honestly. Last day of the month. NFP. Still holding. I'm looking at this right now, 15-minute candle, right? Immediate rebalance. As you said, if we can, okay. So we may just run for that. If we can close below that new week opening gap, I like the idea of using that. If we can get back into it. Rather large ranges, though. We've actually closed on that level. Okay. Closing underneath that 1 minute as well. So in my mind, right, we should continue lower here. We've now broken through that low. Closing underneath really all the discounts, holding that premium. As we said, should reach for this low, this low. This is the external range right now. So we may want to leave that for the time being, but at least internal range. So this low and this low. Equal lows here. See if a fair value gap gets left right there. What's that volume imbalance right there? If we don't want to retrace, it'll be a volume imbalance entry, right? Tap and go. This candle's high will hold for the time being. However, we do have now a bearish fair value gap. So as we've left this bullish fair value gap here, that becomes an inversion once this candle closes underneath it. Bearish fair value gap created aligned with that. If we're going to get up into there, that should be an area that holds us. However, as we mentioned, right, volume imbalance was created as we're leaving that. So if we're in a rush, this stays open. this candle's high holds us, this volume imbalance remains open as well. If this does remain open, I would then look for that to hold the bodies, right? So if we close it in, looking for a retracement up here, if that volume imbalance remains open, let's see if the bodies would hold that level. Few seconds till we close, so we'll see. Boom. Look at that. Beautiful. So we actually run right into that closing on the low. Beautiful delivery. Holding from that fair value gap. Now we may get heavy here. Go to a higher time frame quick. All right, if we're going to start running, so we've cleared external range here. All right, clear that. Let's get some higher time frame targets. So pretty heavy, right? We'd be looking for, this is now a daily level. A daily volume imbalance. We've already cleared this level here, which was that sell side. We've closed below that sell side, which makes me, once again, I think we just continue this bearish delivery here into sell side objectives. Another volume imbalance entry there. Right, watch that. Tap that close, run lower. Looking for this area here. There is that. All right, let's see what else. What's the low of that daily volume imbalance right there? This level next. All right, if we're going to keep melting. Rather aggressive target there, but we can keep getting for that. $15-minute fair value gap there. Swing low. So just throwing more objectives now. All right, 15-minute fair value gap. Probably going to get through that. Look for that swing low there. We'll see what we do here at this 15-minute fair value gap. But if we close underneath this daily volume imbalance, we should just continue to melt. We actually wicked that whole fair value gap. That's all right. Still see if we can't get into these lower objectives here. But yeah, I'm melting. Absolute melt right now. If we close underneath this fair value gap, right, we would expect really that to act as an inversion and really just continue to kind of send us lower. Watching the bodies here at this volume imbalance as well. If we kind of overtake that, we may start going back up. So we'll have to be careful there. Okay. So holding, finally kind of catching support here at a discount. That 15-minute held nice. This is that daily volume imbalance that we were speaking of. So a daily level. Can expect some reaction there. See, 2-minute, there is that 2-minute fair value gap, so I want to see if we end up closing above that 2-minute potential inversion to give us a just a return into now this range, right? Pretty large extended sell-off from that original fair value gap here. So yeah, we'll look to see if we don't want to just give us a run back into untapped inefficiencies here and here. Really, this one would have my attention more than anything. Volume imbalance there. If we get into that, we'll probably hold. Don't even get into it. Okay. If we invert this, we can look for a return back into maybe that new week opening gap. We go to 5.15. Yeah, really want to see the reaction here. Holding. If we end up getting below this, I do think we kind of gravitate back towards this fair value gap here. We said wouldn't want to see really much higher than this if we're going to resume bullish delivery, or bearish, excuse me. We did close below that. Okay. As we said, closing below, would think that wants to be used as an inversion area. Starting to consolidate here after clearing a lot of sell side. Large expansions move lower. Let's see. Starting to hold down. Okay. So we're on the 30-second right here, but on the 1-minute chart, we got back above that volume imbalance, trying to hold it. Starting to really get squeezed between these two PD arrays, the bearish fair value gap and now the bullish volume imbalance. Still really have my attention on this, right? If we get above that, I do think we can return higher up into this range. Compressing. Go to okay. So at this point, not much sitting on the hands. We've cleared lots of sell side and held at that discount, so we can really consolidate here. As I said, as long as we stay below this, I do think we can make another move lower. We do have equal highs here now. As we kind of look at what's my NQ stalling out? Okay. YouTube delay. Yeah, I forget about that YouTube delay. I don't even know how long it is, honestly. Like, I wonder how long. Hopefully not more than like a minute. So yeah, really see how we're just compressing here. Another volume imbalance. We'll kind of watch that coming off of this volume imbalance, right? If we can keep this open, especially if we kind of give an attempt to get above this fair value gap, we may be able to trust that there. Back into it. Let's see. Still playing around. Oof. We actually closed that bullish volume imbalance. So we're starting to create a lot of volume imbalances. For those that have been around, we understand that's an indication that we're going to consolidate around here. Right within the last 5 minutes. Let's see. That's 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 volume imbalances in the last about 10 minutes. What would that be? 15 minutes anyway. We need to wait till 350. Why didn't you trust this? Well, see, it's kind of a tough scenario because this, I don't have full confidence in it just because we have already ran so much lower right now. We're holding at these discounts. Like I mentioned though, this should be, if we are going to attack this low, this should be the fair value gap that holds us. So I wouldn't really want to see price get up in here if we have the intentions of resuming bearishness. But we're getting really squeezed between that and this bullish fair value gap or volume imbalance, which is why we need to see price really show a willingness to get under this, and then we can look for this low. So I wouldn't, I guess, be confident to just blindly short this because of how much we've moved, but I would follow this, and this really should be the fair value gap that does hold us, because this swing low, I wouldn't want to see that swing low be traded up into if bearishness was really the objective. Right, so for me, I just needed confirmation off that fair value gap, which if we can like close below this volume imbalance, I think that we should go lower. We've now opened with this volume imbalance, so we can look and see if that would give a volume imbalance entry. We're watching really the closure of it. So we want to see how do we react now that we're underneath this volume imbalance. If we get right back above it, once again, very good indication that we're just going to consolidate here, especially creating this bearish volume imbalance. If the objective is to run through lows, closing underneath the volume imbalance here after holding that fair value gap, we should leave this volume imbalance open, which if we did, I think that favors the idea of lower prices even better. So we could watch that and see really what takes place there. Man, we're going to still have to fight through now this discount. Okay, not like that. Fair value gap here. And the daily volume imbalance itself. So now that we have, right, we leave that open. We close underneath this one. I'm looking at this one as well. And now it's all right. If we're going to be bearish, I really wouldn't want to see anything higher than that at all. We would need to see us actually close below this. I think if we can close below this, good indication that price will actually continue with that bearishness. So back into, yeah, just back and forth here. Still into this fair value gap, right? Once again, that's kind of the barrier. If we keep bouncing into this, we could just play around here for quite a bit. The fact that we're kind of really disregarding volume imbalances, I never like to see that, to be honest. May have to wait till 350. So it could be a boring little end of the day. Let's see, we're kind of holding that 5-minute fair value gap still. Okay, 2 minute. Holding it, 1 minute. We'll see if this wants to actually hold that volume imbalance or close above it. We close above it, immediate. Another, look at this though, right? Volume imbalance here, and then here, here again. So yeah, just super hideous. So we've actually cleared that. Let me go back to a 1 minute. Actually clear these highs now. Really want to see this reaction. Want to see if we close above the highs or if it's a wick and close. Okay. So we did close in the range, another volume imbalance after forming another. So now at this point, we have formed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight volume imbalances. Not what we like to see there. Five-minute itself still holding though. No candle body yet closing above. We'll see if we can get any candle body to close above the 5-minute. So really this volume imbalance here is the 5-minute fair value gap low. So how long do we have? A minute. Okay. Another volume imbalance. We'll see what that does. Another volume imbalance, bullish. Still just playing around. Still trying to see if we can't get above. If not, okay, held consequent encroachment. Sheesh, yeah, we're hideous up in here now. Jeez. Another volume imbalance. Another one. Look at that. Volume imbalance central here. Coming off of that, let's go to the 5 quick. 5 minutes, still holding the low. Okay. See if we open with another one. Yep, crazy. So once again, another volume imbalance. Untapped volume imbalance here. We'll see if we want to get back into that at all. We did close underneath this one, but with how we're moving, I think we might just get right back above that. Try to immediate rebalance here. Immediate rebalance right there. Be wary of that. Let's see. If we can immediate rebalance and we hold this volume imbalance, we may want to continue lower. Okay. Didn't hold it. Still hideous. Look at this price action. If I just showed you like this on the 15. Absolute seek and destroy. What color is my background? Shoot, what is it? People have asked that before. F. Let's see. There it is. F4DDCE. No problem. Back above the volume imbalance. Gee. Yeah, we're in some hideous price action right here. Let's see, if we had to force a bias, where would we force a bias? We absolutely had to go somewhere. Relative equal lows here. Looking at a 15-second chart only, I'd go relative equal lows. Right, we had equal highs, we clear that. Short-term high, we clear that, break structure, return into the fair value gap. Relative equal lows now. Equal low here, inefficiency here with relative equal lows. All right, look at these. These are equal lows right here. So we have sell side there with that inefficiency. This is the volume imbalance. Notice how we're just playing back and forth through it. This is also a volume imbalance here. Volume imbalance high. Yeah, we should. That's kind of what I'm looking for. I'd like to see that as well. We're just moving so, I mean, high resistance, right? But that's why I would favor that this holds. We're struggling to get above that fair value gap. But at the same time, we're struggling to get below this. Right, so we can really go either way, but I would favor that run lower. Like we spoke about, right now we're engineering once again that trend line liquidity here. Right, people trying to buy whatever this would be. So I'd like to see that get ran out. Because in my opinion, we've now kind of tripped breakout, right? So equal highs here, people trying to buy on like this breakout here with this. Say those people get trapped, right? So now they can get their stops ran too. We'll see. Favor low prices, really hard to force a bias though with FOMC already delivering so aggressively. I mean, let's see from high to low here, this last run. What was that? 40 handles? Dang. 50. $330, so we'll see if we can't get some on close orders. Maybe 350 will give us some acceleration through into all of our objectives. Right, I really want this. You guys know how much I like the volume imbalance. This daily here, that was never, right, when we opened here, there's zero attempt to even get into this close. So to me, those are really sensitive areas. I'd like to see if price can't get into that. But look how we're holding that 15-minute. Third attempt into this. Okay, I want to see us get through this now. Remember this now, so daily volume imbalance. We've yet to even close underneath. Right here and here. If we can get a closure of the 1 minute underneath that daily volume imbalance, I think that's an early indication that we can move lower. Still these equal lows now. Remember on that 15-second chart that we were aiming for here. That's sell side. Boom. So there's sell side there. Nice. Really want this low though. If anything, I really want this. I want here. I want all the way down. Let's wait if that 1 minute can close below. Closure below this fair value gap's even better, to be honest. Really good chance of running for that low, if that's the case. Cool. So close on that low. Let's melt here. If we can get through that low, holding the 5 minute, we should be able to melt off, honestly. Oh, brother, right? So far now, as we said, high resistance, but so far premiums are starting to hold us. Okay, we've gotten through some pretty significant discounts that we were unable to before. If this volume balance can stay open, beautiful. Okay, so that's what we really want to see now. We've actually closed underneath the 15, leaving behind the volume imbalance. At this point, want to just see that continued bearishness going through this low. So we have sell side sitting here. These are daily volume imbalances. So then we can go into that. This is a new week opening gap, right? So we should be able to get into that. And then underneath all that, we had, what was this? See, now I'm getting lost. Was this hourly? No, daily? Daily. Oh, okay, okay. That's the daily volume imbalance right there. Right there. Sell side. What? Okay, okay. Also sell side. Apologies, apologies. Sell side there. Beautiful. See if we can't get this low here. If we get under this new week opening gap, we might absolute run. Right, because now that's going to be new week opening gap. It's the daily volume imbalance. Perfect equal lows there. Let's run that at least. Quick stab into that. Equal lows right at that sell side. We should clear that. That's good there. Once again, an untapped volume imbalance here. We're already underneath all this, so I mean, we should just continue to melt. Especially at these equal lows. If we get back above this fair value gap, that's a no-no. More equal lows. We should run those for sure. NQ hasn't cleared its low yet, so I'm looking for NQ to clear its low, which would let ES run out this external range sell side liquidity. As we said, wanting to see the daily volume balance really as well. Dollar going up. Show you NQ quick. NQ here. Right near its low. That's this low here in ES. So I'm not really seeing this as bullish SMT, just simply seeing it as NQ lagging behind. Should stab through that low. Let's ES stab through this low, get into our sell side objectives. If anything, really, we can get into this. We have this one I want to see bodies hold, but this one we never get back into. Right, we tap it perfectly, but we don't actually get into it. So I'd be okay with letting price get up into there if it wanted to. Perfect again. Notice that candle snaps right back into that volume imbalance. We'll see if it doesn't want to run those, because now we have equal highs there. So, and there's an inefficiency. So maybe we run that. We'll see. See what the 15 is like real quick. 15 is closed below the 15 as well. So now this 15-minute is an inversion, because the 15 has confirmed that with the candle. Oh, whoa. Completely lied to you. 3 minutes until we close. So if the 15 can close underneath, at that point, that should confirm our inversion play and send us lower. Equal lows here, I mean, that's just too clean in my opinion. Sort of like a 5 minute, right? We've hit that low here. That's a daily swing point that already has equal lows. So daily equal lows. Now tapped one more time with another set of equal lows. Too clean in my opinion. Beautiful there, right? So we run into that volume imbalance. We stop right at the high. Want to see us overtake this one. And want to see us give us our sell side here. if you don't mind, price. But we'll see what we get. So right, we like that we now close back underneath this volume imbalance, kind of retaking it as a volume imbalance. Want to see us now get through these lows, really no resistance now, right? So after we've hit that, we want to see low resistance runs into areas like this. Right through that low, cut through it, reach right into the daily volume imbalances. This higher time frame breaker that we are in is telling. Indeed. Yeah, we should melt. Held that beautifully. Sell side daily volume imbalances. Don't want to see that. What's NQ up to? NQ, okay, NQ didn't run slow either, so just gotta wait. All right, kind of getting something like here. We don't want to get shaken out because we can kind of consolidate here, run this high and then break. Ideally, we just kind of break since we already did a minor stop run, right, with this run into the inefficiency. We already cleared equal highs, so ideally we kind of break through the low here after this. Candles hit the high of the 1 minute. Because this should be our protected high, in theory. See if we can't get into that low now. That price is absolutely plain right there. We get somewhere we have to wait till 350 to get that run into this liquidity. You've seen that kind of a few times in my videos. Right, time then price. Ideally, we run that. If we can run through this before 350, I think 350 gives us pretty good expansion lower. But we may be stuck in that right consolidation prior to it. Just too clean here, right? Straight lines like to become jagged. Way too clean here. Double bottom, heavy sell off. People trying to buy here, I'm thinking. Trying to catch a bottom here, right? Oh, it's gone down so far. It's got to go up. Nah, keep melting. Fake them out here with that, right? Like we said, engineer buy stops, run those. Same thing here. Engineer these buy stops now. Run those buy stops. At this rate, though, I think we're getting a 350 delivery. Here we go. Or we get a psych again. Psych. Let's go back to that 15. Give a little fun into it. All right, look at that. Absolute laser precision line right there. Now we're creating equal lows here. If we don't run those, I would not know how to trade, I guess. That's all I could tell you. Boom. There it is. Look at that rejection too. Jeez. Crazy wick. Let's see if we get into it. Like we said, 350. We want to see what 350 gets us. God bless you, sir, he says. Thanks, Dylan. God bless you, my dog. Appreciate that. As we said, this is our protected high now, okay? So we shouldn't, if we're going to run lower, this high remains intact. So now I want to see, what does this 1 minute candle do? If we overtake this wick, that's a pretty clear indication of resumed bearish delivery. Volume imbalance, I like that. Wouldn't mind this one candle kind of playing here, leaving that open. 350, we get that kind of accelerated move lower into the daily volume imbalance. I will say, because we've already cleared this liquidity, right, our straight edge now really becomes up here. Equal highs, relative equal high, another swing point. We've cleared all the sell-side liquidity. So say we want to kind of enter that seek and destroy. Next area that we're going to target is buy side. If we do want to continue bearish, however, right, we should be fine, continue to reach for the sell side objectives. So we'll wait and watch for that here in the next 20 seconds. Let's see if this bearish volume imbalance gets left open. If it does, we now would look for that to really hold the candle bodies and continue lower. 2, 1, does not do it. We close it in, we try to get lower, fail to take that low. I'm trying to see with that aggressive move, did NQ get its low? NQ still not getting its low. So I want to see NQ get its low, which means we get into the daily volume imbalance here in ES. All right, quick show you what I'm talking about here. Still same low, and NQ failed to get into that. ES has created a new low. However, I want to see NQ breach this low here, allowing ES to get into the new week opening gap. Put on a 2 minute for NQ. Equal lows here in NQ. That daily volume imbalance is my level there. Beauty. Nice. And there is the daily volume imbalance. Okay. Yeah, pretty slow macro, honestly, but it's all right. It kind of played out how we wanted to see. See if we run now the last 5 minutes of leaving that. We wick into the daily volume imbalance, but we may get a pretty aggressive sell-off here. Last 10 minutes. And that's really our objective there. I'm content with that, honestly. We get into our sell side objective there. I really want to see if we just get into that low of the daily volume imbalance here as well. Look at that stop. I bet you we stopped right at that consequent encroachment of that new week opening gap. Let me see. What the heck? Huh. Should have popped up. I guess not. Oh, there it is. Okay. Want to see it on the 1 minute though. Doesn't show. That's not ideal. 2 minute. What the hell? Oh well. Let's do it manually. Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, all right. We'll be content with that and wrap up today. Overall, pretty clean. No, just kidding. High resistance, but really delivered as we expected. Right? We said that this fair value gap here should hold us bearishly if our objective is this new week opening gap. High resistance, consolidation, but right, still able to read it. Created those equal highs. We ran those equal highs into that fair value gap, leaving it, hitting it one more time, and then finally getting through. Once again, tiny consolidation here. Same idea. Wanted to see this sell side get ran. Gets ran, and then ultimately we deliver into our new week opening gap. Now we return back into the 15. So just returning to these algorithmic reference points. So not a bad day overall. As we shared, right, this was kind of what we had done prior to FOMC. And then we took shorts in here that we were able to capitalize. Right, added again one here. This was pretty obvious. Volume imbalance, 15-minute inversion. So we were able to take shorts from here as well into that daily volume imbalance. I'm going to see what we have for tomorrow. See what kind of news we're working with. Let's see, disable Thursday. Usually because NFP, we take tomorrow off, but we'll come back tomorrow. And sure expected more active. How long you been on demo? I guess on demo, I've been on demo, I don't know, since I started, the original 5 years. Or you're asking if that's your question. I think everyone should be on demo to start out. No way you go right into funds. See if we can hold that as well. But after I tried, oh yeah, it's definitely a jump going from demo to personal funds, or if you get funded at some point. It's something you have to work through, no doubt. Right, it's not that the trading or anything is different. It's having to manage your emotions once you make that jump. Right now, you're kind of skin in the game. Whereas before, if you kind of get proficient on demo, you kind of don't understand the emotional toll that switching to live funds can have. But hey, give it time. Right, that's really all it takes. As I've often said, it just takes time. Right, you'll get desensitized to that. Yes, sir. Purely ICT. Oof, I was seeing if we couldn't, after going from here, get into that daily volume balance, but we may not want to get in there. That's all I'm waiting for, and then we'll end it. Oops, bring that back. Just want to see that low be tapped. Cool. All right, we'll share kind of what we did on our actual funded here today. A few more inches than I would like, but I had to mess around with it. First short came on this volume imbalance. As soon as we close above it, an immediate close. Right, so that's probably a one handle stop out. Entering here, closing this candle. As we trade up into this fair value gap the first time, we reject. Let's try shorting again off of this volume imbalance. Okay, so we overtake this volume imbalance here with this candle. As we trade up into it, trying to go short with my stop above consequent encroachment of this candle. So it was a very tight stop, and we ended up getting wicked out pretty quick. So once again, right back to back, small losses. Third short, as we come into it a third time, closing beneath it with this candle, I'm adding here. I'm adding again as we trade up into the fair value gap. And I'm adding one last time as we hit this, right, run this high in this consequent encroachment. We then trade lower. At this point, I'm just kind of offsetting some of the position. Right? I had a rather large position, and with these large ranges, just didn't want to hold that whole position. So I'm offsetting some of it here. As we kind of confirm though, right, with this candle now, we've engineered that volume imbalance. So when I see this candle close without ever returning into this volume imbalance, especially holding consequent encroachment here where we entered at the high, at that point, I fully trust that this fair value gap will hold us. This high is protected. So I go in one last time with this fair value gap once we tap into it with the stop above that swing point. Right, that's our last short up here. And as you saw, we end up partialing really at this low first, right? So we kind of create equal lows. I just want to secure myself a partial. So when we run this sell side leg, I take partials there. We then trade up into that volume imbalance that we were speaking of, right? Pair that with the 1 minute fair value gap. So now we spoke, this would be an obvious area to look to short again. So as we trade up into that, I add short, basically that partial here, right? So I partial out, I re-add what I partialed at this fair value gap, closing here at this sell side, and then finally closing the full position at that daily volume imbalance. So all in all, a little more messy than I would honestly like in here. This is pretty sloppy delivery. Price was running quickly, so I thought I would have to get in right with this volume imbalance because price was going to continue to run. But once I realized that we were going to start consolidating in here, I switched my attention to entering at this fair value gap, and that's what you see with these entries here, here, and then these last two here. Ultimately, we get out the swing lows, and as you saw, right, one last stacked entry at a logical area, that inversion 15-minute, getting us into the daily. You actually could have used it again, right, as we trade up into that, would have gave you a nice run into our daily volume imbalance low that we are looking for. But all in all, that was it for us today. Not bad. Profitable. We like that. We will be back on, what did I say? Gold. I've never traded gold, to be honest, brother. I'm not much of a gold person. Do you think ICT methods work? Oh no, brother, they work. They absolutely work. I've been funded for about 1, 2, 3 years, I guess I'd say at this point. 2.5 years. Purely ICT concepts. This is all I do. This is what I do for a living. Just trade. So I guess they work enough to support me, and that's all that really matters. I want to try it, but can you tell me how you can start what? Trading gold, you're saying? If that's the case, I couldn't tell you, brother. Purely a futures guy. I mean, the concepts work themselves. If you're not fluid with the concepts, you'll have to learn those first. But once you do get more efficient with them, you can use any asset class, really. I think I even have gold pulled up here. Yeah, it's like gold futures. It all works the same. Yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. Appreciate y'all for hanging out this afternoon. Kind of ugly delivery, but overall our objectives were met, and that's kind of all we really wanted to see. So successful afternoon, profitable, right? Shared the actual live executions that we took there. And we were able to get into our daily volume imbalance. So going forward, we'll just have to see what we want to do at this point. We have cleared that daily fair value gap. So for those that have been around, we've been using this daily fair value gap. If we close underneath that, right with this, let me hide this. So we'll probably close underneath that fair value gap. I'll look for this. So coming into tomorrow, I'll see if we don't want to continue to push lower, and we'll kind of play off that. But until then, have a good afternoon, everybody. And we'll be back tomorrow morning at, what time? Let me double check. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow morning at 9:25 Eastern, just before equities open. Until then, have a good afternoon. Take care.